with his foreknowledge.
Brooks, do you actually listen to yourself, or are you just reading off of a script without thinking about it? Because you made your argument and then completely contradicted your argument within like 4 seconds in one sentence.
Okay, we'll see about that. Let's hear it.
Prayer can't change God's mind, but then you immediately argue that in God's foreknowledge, he alters his plan or he makes his plan according to your prayer.
That is not a contradiction. It does not mean he changed his mind. God foreknows, so he's not surprised later by our prayers. He already factors our prayers into his one providential plan.
Semantics here. Maybe prayer doesn't change God's mind.
So which one is it? Did I contradict myself or not? Your point fails because you just admitted that prayer does not change God's mind.
Therefore, your prayers affect how God operates. That's what you're arguing.
Yes. How else would God answer our prayers?
God has good reasons to say no to our prayers, but that does not mean that prayer makes no difference.
If God is saying no to prayers, then that means God's doing what he wants to do, regardless of how you pray, which means your prayer makes no difference.
That does not logically follow. God may have overriding reasons to bring about a result contrary to our prayers, but that does not follow this is true for every prayer we make. Often there is harmony between what we pray for and what God wills.
It says yes to your prayers because you prayed something and he decided to alter his plan according to your prayers, then prayers do make it.
Again, God has one providential plan. It is never altered. He just factors our prayers with his foreknowledge into his plan.
Difference, and you can change God's mind.
Christy, do you actually listen to yourself, or are you just reading off a script without thinking about it? Remember, you said
prayer doesn't change God's mind.
You pretty quickly contradicted yourself.
Two people who are in a loving relationship naturally want to speak to each other.
Well, that's a false equivalence because your girlfriend is not an omnipotent, omniscient deity.
An analogy is not similar in every way. Drawing from similarities specifically for communication in a relationship.
Your girlfriend doesn't know that you love her, like things can really be known.
That's not true. Philosophy knowledge is generally defined as justified true belief. It would be sad if none of your loved ones actually knew that. But my point stands that I want to tell her even though she knows. And so the same communicating with God.
Adore her and love her all the days of her life, tell her how great she is, and then threatens you with eternal punishment if you choose not to be with her.
But is dissimilar in the fact that my girlfriend is not also my morally perfect creator and judge. I adore God as the highest good, and I ought to direct my will towards that. And there are consequences for not fulfilling my moral duties. That does nothing to affect God's love for me as displayed on the cross, and my love and desire to communicate with God. But prayer makes a difference, and it's good for us to communicate with our Creator.
Most of us are here to deconstruct beliefs people hold, whether or not you think those beliefs are true.
There are all sorts of beliefs out there. Christianity is true, so my account is largely about defending Christianity, and there are central matters that fall under this. It's pretty simple. Anyways, I've been getting into a lot of back and forth recently. You know what they say? Never back down, never what? God bless.